Hello everybody, it's Duck07 with another brew, and this brew just got 5-0 in the modern leagues. Okay, so this is the old new brew. So I previously trophied a lot of times with this deck. It's an enigmatic incarnation. I call it enigmatic incarnation elementals. I used to play it with the Yorion in the deck, and it was 80 card deck. And I just played all the similar stuff like I do now, but I had more silver bullets here. Of course, I had a full four of enigmatic incarnation, and I had a lot more enchantments and a lot more one-off targets to find with enigmatic incarnation. So it was kind of more powerful, but I found a version in the 60 card variant that also performs extremely well. So there are few card selection choices left to, like, maybe you can choose for yourself which you like better. So, for instance, you could play the third enigmatic incarnation over the second Omen of the Sea. But Omen of the Sea is you really like want it. This turn you it's one of your few turn to plays, like it's either Ren or Spreading Seas or you're saving Omen, and it's pretty good in the deck. It's not just it's very good digging card. Scries you two, draws you a card. You can find what you need. Helps you get better turn three play. Find the land if you're missing, or ran, whatever. Removal, and it can be later sacked to enigmatic incarnation. So it's pretty good, powerful card in the deck. Of course, third enigmatic incarnation is also it's one of the most powerful cards in the deck. But considering we're playing 60 cards and don't have um, that much enchantments to sack to it other than Spreading Seas, Omen, and Leyline Binding in the main, it's really hard to fit more of those. It is possible, but in different versions. I can show you that versions too. Okay, so uh, on the sideboard we have Hidetsugu Consume Soul, and Dress Down. There are also enchantments that can be set to Enigmatic Incarnation, so you can change that post board, and like especially Hidetsugu is good in matchups where it's good. It just completely destroys your opponent, kills all their permanents, then removes their graveyard, and then you sack it and get Omnat. With Enigmatic Incarnation, it's just crazy value. And of course, it's this deck is a bit of a combo deck because Enigmatic Incarnation can be used to sack a Leyline Binding and cheat in the 7 drop into play on turn 4 in this version. With some ramp, you could do it even faster. Oh, okay, so in the previous versions with the Yorion, he was able to play both Abundant Growth and Utopia Sprawl with some very good two drops as targets. But this version also has its strengths. It's pretty very consistent. You get to find Risen Reef very often. It's the way you win most of the games, and Enigmatic Incarnation in this version mostly serve as a copy of Risen Reef number 5 and number 6. It's just 1 mana more. And in a lot of situations, you immediately get to sack the 2 mana enchantment and get your Risen Reef into play. So it's really a copy of a Risen Reef, but it's not just that. It can be used to sack Leyline Binding, find Titan of Industry, or later sack Hidetsugu. So it's 1 mana, costs 1 mana more, but it's better than just having a Risen Reef, because you find Risen Reef, and next turn you find another one, and next turn you find another one. So it's like an infinite grind, and a lot of decks just can't beat that. And especially when you're playing some kind of mirror matches, those decks Uh, they find it really hard to fight with resolved enigmatic incarnation, where you can just every turn, whatever they do, you find another reason reef, you find the Titan of Industry, or maybe Walnut, whatever you need. So it's pretty good card, but of course, I decided for this 5 league, I played just the 2 copies, but I think third copy would be also pretty good in deck. I just found it hard to remove a card from the main. I really like the main like this. Of course, with the 2 Enigmatic Incarnation, Titan of Industry becomes a bit worse. It would be better with 3, and that's probably the reason why I would want to play 3 of them in this league. But I'm showing you this version with 2 because this was the version that I trophied in a league, and we will see the gameplay after this talk. And that's it. Okay, so these are my thoughts about the list after completing the league. Uh, Deck in league felt very, very powerful, and yeah, so we'll just check the sideboard. So here's some artifact enchantment hate. This foundation breaker is tutorable because in most cases when you bring it in, you bring in Hidetsugu in, so you can always also sack Hidetsugu on Enigmatic to find the foundation breaker. It's also elemental, which works well with Rising Reef, forces, best artifact enchantment hate in the game, and of course 1 Boseiju in the main, 1 on side, 4 Brennan 6. Just you can beat a lot of decks with this tech. It's worth it to play 1 in the main, 1 in the side if you're playing like 2-3 Rents or even 4. Okay, so the fairy in the main and in the side, total of 3 to fairies. Cascade decks are very popular right now, especially Rhinos, and but there's also some living ends in the league, and I saw a glimpse recently. So some new version of the glimpse. So there's really a resurgence of the Cascade decks in the leagues. There are really a lot of them. I think it's worth it to play it at the moment on the MTGO. And that's it. Other than that, we have some Doin Vetoes. Doin Vetoes also. I played Force of Negations in the past on the sideboard, but I like to test either one. When I play when I play 3 of them, I'd prefer vetoes. When I play 4, I kind of prefer a Force of Negations, but they're pretty similar. Force of Negation, of course, you can just play your stuff and don't worry about tamping out. But I think I decided for the veto. Just because I already explained, there's a really lot of these Cascade decks at the moment, and Don't Veto is just better against Cascade decks than Force of Negation. Force of Negation is often too slow, and it only works on Charlotte's Agent. If they play the Outburst, you have to pay 3 mana on your turn, which is impossible if they're playing first. So Don Vito definitely better option in those situations. So that's why I decided for them. And that's it. Other than that, we have Kahira, because all creatures are elementals. We have Hiratsugu, which is great. We are splashing black within Data Triumph because of the Leyland binding anyway, so it's not a problem. If you're playing in a metagame that can destroy lands or something like that, you can also play another black source, but 1 is fine. Fine for the open metagame. Other than that, we have one of Dress Down in the main. Dress Down is very useful card in a lot of matchups, but it's even better in this deck because we have Enigmatic Incarnation, so we can sack it end of turn before it sacks on its own ability, and to get value out of it, get a Risen Reef. So pretty good card for this deck. I would play more of those if I expect some more metagame where Dress Down is desirable. Okay, so that's it. Deck feels pretty powerful, and we'll just go through the leagues and watch this trophy league. How it went. All the games matches ended up 2-0 except for one. Okay, playing second. My first matchup was Grixis Control. It was not the Rakdos, but the Grixis variant. At this point, I was safe from a Blood Moon when I saw there actually Grixis, not the Rakdos, so I was able to just find my Triumph. I decided opted to go for Kahira hand, let them hit me this one time with Ragavan. Unfortunately, they had the Spreading Seas, but it was fine. I had other lands. Unfortunately, Spreading Seas on a Data Triumph stops me from playing the Omnat next turn, but it's fine. Still I opted to go for the Omnat. It draws me a card, and they need to kill it. So they used the Fury here. They scammed it, but it was fine for me because I had the Omnat Fury for the next turn, so pretty powerful play, pretty strong situation. My Omnat survived the enter the battle ATB trigger. I got the mana to cast my Fury. So 2 blockers for there. I forgot that Mind Data Triumph doesn't give me land types. I wasn't able to cast the Binding here. It was fine though. They go for the Fury, which means they get to attack. With Tasigor, I definitely wanted to trade here. I just killed the Fury. I skipped. I think I skipped. Sorry, I had a lethal here. I think I just skipped the lethal. So if I didn't block, I will be able to clear their blocker and kill them on the counter attack. But I just played this so fast and just didn't care that much about my plays because I was so far ahead. It would be pretty impossible for my opponent to get back into the game. I was able to attack with Kahira. My opponent has the Ragavan in hand at this point, but they're on 2 lives, so they have to play it as a blocker. I also got a decent top deck, another decent top deck, so for the lethal next turn, so pretty big punt here on the in a match game 1 in a match 1, but fortunately I was just too far behind to be punished for it, so that worked out well. But yeah, I'm kind of missed lethal if I just didn't block in that situation. I would kill my opponent before, but it's fine. Okay. I guess in that way I kind of played around them having some multiple bolts in hand or whatever, but I doubt it. Okay, so game 2. Game 2, I opted to immediately Solitude the Ragavan. They didn't have another threat, so it was a pretty good decision. I was able to resolve my Risen Reef, but they played the dress down, so I didn't get the value, no ability. They scammed the Fury, so it's basically you saw this deck probably before a lot of times. It's like Rakdos Fury, but just without the Blood Moon, with some other value cards. So nothing special. Nothing special. I decided to go for just Kahira hand, leave Bolt. So I just play the Risen Reef before, so to get the maximum value out of the Reefs. If I play before I play the Omnat next turn, they have the Fury in hand. They had 2, so they used it here to kill both my Teferi and Risen Reef. I was okay with this. I had I had the crazy good stuff in hand with another Omnat, Kahira, Bolt, so they just on one card at this point, so pretty much I can't lose this anymore. So I just play my Omnat, play fetch, and my opponent with concedes with 0 cards in hand. And okay, we can go check the game, the match 2, sorry. Okay, so I think game 2 was against Recommission Elementals. So it's the version of Elementals playing Etherwile and a new Recommission card. So I just went for a turn 2 Spreading Seas, hoping to find a hit to land, but unfortunately didn't find it. Had a decent hand, but I was struggling with the lands, of course. They've always find Reef with Harbinger, so I was just ready to use they decided to play the voice before playing Reef. I decided to play the ending and just see what they do at this point. I opted for subtlety on their skelemental. They put it on top. I was fine because I had bolt and binding for next turn. Still on 2 mana, but feeling good with this hand full of removals. So I decided to go binding on the skelemental. So this way I can bounce the binding with the fairy and the skelemental will die end of turn. Of course, they can use the Thunderkin Awakener to get it back from graveyard, but I'm still good at this point because I can stop the Awakener before it attacks. They go try to play 2 Risen Reefs on the same turn. So they're just on 1 card at the moment, so I decide to Solitude Reef in response for them not to get the full value out of both Reef abilities. So a pretty good position for me. Destroyed 1 Reef. I have the removal for the second one. I just want immediately to take care of this, hold binding, and just in case they tried something like this. So definitely binding here on Awakener. They go for Ephemerate. I have the Solitude. I also have Reef on the field, so doing ability while pitching the Solitude gets me, so I lose just 1 card, which is pretty fair way to do this highly unfair stuff. Okay, so I play the Reef to get the maximum value. I get the 4th land, and they have the Flicker Wisp at the moment, so I just kind of wait for a red card or land to play Fury next turn. It's perfect at the moment. So again, I pitch Fury, trying to find the red card or land. I find the land, so I'm able to go for the Fury next turn, kill all their stuff, and kill the first reef before second enters the battlefield, so I get the full value, so I get the minimum value out of it, sorry. I go for the Omnat first. They can't win in this situation anymore, so I play Omnat first, get 2 abilities, play the Fury, kill all their stuff, and also holding another bolt in hand, so they concede here. They were definitely overrun by my 2 reefs. We are basically trying to do the same thing, but this deck just does it better in this mirror. Not mirror, but like half mirror. Let's say this deck just does it better, and I decided they had the reef in hand for the next turn, but I don't really want to binding the reef that much. I really want to do binding some other stuff like Vial, a pretty good target. I go for Vial. I knew they had element, the Harbinger hand. They didn't play it with Vial. I don't know. They could have played it. They probably forgot. They could have played it with Vial, and then play the reef on their turn, which would be much better for them. So in this situation, I tap with 4 mana. I have 2 subtleties in hand. It's pretty good for me. So I can. They mostly play creatures, so they kind of have to play creature. In this situation, where they just pass the turn, I decide to put endurance into play so I can start attacking. Shock myself in, again save the subtlety and the solitude. I let the voice resolve. It didn't feel that important to subtlety. It would be okay if I did. Luckily, I draw binding, so this play becomes even better for me. So I'm still in a. I can't lose in this situation really. Now I go definitely for subtlety on the voice. They have nothing on the field, and I have now currently playing like a tempo deck. Sometimes you just can't do this with subtleties, so they are non-life, and I have subtlety here for exactly 9 damage next turn. So just go for it. Of course, they play Solitude, but guess they didn't have it at this situation. So that was it. Quick 2 wins in this, let's call it a mirror match. Time for match 3. Okay, a match 3 mulligan to 6 cards, decent 6. Ran on turn 2 is always a good play for this deck. Okay, so this was a Goblins matchup. Ran a pretty good against Goblins. So immediately play it on turn 2, start pinging their creatures, also returning lands to my hand. I decide to, as I draw another run, I decide to just get Kahira in hand and let them kill my Wren, because this means they will pay the echo cost, which suits me because they'll just kind of waste turn paying the echo, not playing anything relevant, so it's kind of good for me. So now I'm able to prismatic ending the creature they paid echo for, and ping the other one, and still have Wren to get my lands from the graveyard. And now I tap with 5 mana, draw into the Omnath plus fetch into Solitude. So I unfortunately I misclicked here, so I got accidentally got the wrong land. I was wanted to play the Solitude in this situation, but now I was forced to play to ping the Hordemaster, get them the cards. It was unfortunate misclick, but it didn't matter because they were just overwhelmed. This play was fine and didn't lose much really. Still had Solitude in hand, ran on the table, holding the bolt. They can't do much in this situation. So that's it. Okay, time for to check out the game 2. All of these games were pretty quick for the control deck. Again, mulligan to 6. Drew into my one-off Foundation Breaker. Foundation Breaker is not great, but they play Etherwile. They play Blood Moon. Sorry, I wasn't able to really fetch. a green source here, so I was weak to Blood Moon, but had the subtlety for the Magus. I think they play Magus, so I decided to subtlety the Bogart. It was good because they put Bogart on the bottom, and now able to exile the Horde Master without giving them um, the card. So got a Reef going on. In this situation, Pashalik Mons was the problem, but they played the Kiki Jiki. I definitely wanted to get rid of the Kiki. Kiki can do some really powerful stuff, and I didn't have the second white, unfortunately, here. So I decided to go for Kahira and Solitude the Kiki before they start to do some busted stuff. They played the Matron, so I Solitude the Matron before being able to them copying the Matron, something like that. They get Snoop, Magos of the Moon on the top. I got the land with Ren. I played the Prismatic, of course, and play the Foundation Breaker just to get the ability no targets. So my opponent goes for the Fury, pretty good for them, kills both Ren and 6 and the Risen Reef, kind of worked out perfect for them, but I had some really good cards on top of my deck and was able to turn things around. Okay, so they attacked, so it was a perfect situation for me to block the Horde Master. I should have blocked the Pashalik monster. I completely forgot they get the damage. I'm just not used to playing against these goblins really, so I did a few bad plays. Not really good gameplay. Didn't show good gameplay here, but got in there anyway. They played Fury, so my subtlety was kind of perfect, getting me another ability and making the blocker. I, I was ready to lose the Reef here. I had to block jump the Fury anyway, so finally I got rid of the Pashalik Mons. And then find the Omnat, find the Renan 6 with Omnat, pretty good jaws as my opponent concedes after that. I was able to get another Enigmatic trigger to put another Reef on the field while gaining a lot of life with Omnat. So, yeah, pretty good jaws, as my opponent said. That's it. Let's go check out the game 4. Sorry, game 4. Where is it? Here it is. This in this game, this was my only game I lost was in this matchup. I think it was Hammer Time. Only lost one game here. My first hand was too slow, so I mulliganed into much better hand. Oh no, sorry, it was Burn. Oh, I had a pretty. Burn is one of the hardest matchups for all 4 color piles. So I definitely needed some luck to win here because I played against Burn on the draw. It's definitely not easy to do this, to win these games. And unfortunately, game 1, I had a lot of these removals like a Binding Hand, the Bolt, and they just didn't have creatures, all spells, which was definitely bad for me, bad for my chances of trying to resolve anything. So that was it. They just finished me next turn. A pretty perfect hand from my opponent, Burn, playing Burn. So they had turn 4 kill. Nothing I could have done there. Um, Okay, so a bit easier starting first, definitely. A much better situation for me is when they start with the creatures. So this way I'm able to kill the Eidolon before losing any life. And I have, for now in this situation, I have Reef, followed with Solitude. So if they play another creature, I just get another ability. Okay, they go for the Searing Blaze. I decide to go Solitude on my own Reef, gain one life, get another ability, try to find something. And Enigmatic Incarnation is a perfect find, especially for this matchup where I can just go Enigmatic Incarnation, select my Leyline Binding, and find the Titan of Industry. As already said, it's a bit like a combo deck, especially when playing against Burn. So gain 5 life, get. Get 11 power on the field for 4 mana feels pretty good. Even find another Enigmatic Incarnation so I can put another one into play if needed to find 2 5 mana elementals. But just play Solitude from my hand, my opponent concedes, and that's it. That was time for a game 2. Game 3, this was the toughest. I completely forgot about this matchup, that this game was in this league. This was the hardest matchup, hardest game in this entire league. Just trying to win against Burn on the draw. Luckily, they had creatures here, even too many of them. I didn't have that much removal, so I was forced to pay 2 life here to exile one of the 6 peers. Some already on 13. They're pretty aggressive. Go Helix hand, go another burn spell hand, attack with third Swiss peer, sorry, 4-3, which wasn't able to deal with. And it's turn 3, and I'm already on 3 life. And in this situation, this means pretty much a game over. But yeah, so they needed that burn spell, didn't have it, and find just guide from top of deck. This means I gets to live another turn, cast my Omnat, and basically after casting the Omnat, it's over. And now I have a blocker. Now I have a blocker that gains me 4 life a turn. It's impossible for them to deal with this. Even get the leyline now, so no chance for my opponent anymore. I have the seize, I have the veto, even if I need it for some other burn spells, and just that's it. Basically, I can't. I had a bit, definitely had the lucky there. My opponent needed to draw something, and that's it. So they concede a classic Omra to win against a burn. And it was time for the last game, the trophy game. Trophy games, last game in the league is often the most difficult one. You always get opponent with who is doing very well in the league. I think it was the Urza deck, blue-white Urza with green splash for Haywire Might. Yeah, classic Ingenious Smith on turn 2 from them. Didn't play against this deck for a long time. It was pretty popular for some time. They play the Sentinel to pump their Smith, which is okay for me. I try to find a third land, can't find it again, but I play this Seas. I played a Solitude and I got the land next turn. So with one fetch with Omnat, pretty much with Ren on the field, pretty much solves my mana for the entire game. And now it's pretty hard for my opponent. So just ping the Haywire Might. I didn't need the land for this turn, so I just saved the Subtlety, hoping for them to play a creature. They play a lot of creatures. I have the Saga Seas in my hand for their Saga, so a pretty good decision to save the Subtlety here, to put their Monitor on top of their deck and then destroy their Saga so they can't play it next turn. I had the Omnat, the Almighty Play, and kill Saga, put Kahira into hand, and Omnat on the field. With the 6 cards in hand, it's game over. So my opponent concedes. Pretty much gave them no chance to try to do something. Game 2, they mulligan to 5, but still they're on the play. Can be pretty aggressive with the Sentinels. Sentinels, the 2-mana creature, what is called the Urza, if they succeed to play it early. Okay, they go for Sentinel on turn 1. Good, good for them, good play for them. But they don't really have. They don't have another play. I just wanted to hold my mana for Force of Vigor. I expected. I didn't play a Wren because they were obviously they didn't attack with Sentinel because they were holding the Metallic Rebuke. So there was no point in trying to play the Wren into the counterspell, and then they would just play the Saga on their turn and get the play they wanted. So this way, I didn't get my Wren countered, and I really need my Wren. And I was hoping they play the Saga so I can use my Force before they get mana to use the Rebuke. They failed because they attacked before playing the Rebuke. They should have played Saga before attacking. This way they would still be able to hold the Rebuke before me trying to cast the Force of Vigor. So that ended up pretty well for me. But it's okay if it didn't. I would still be able to resolve my Wren. Then the Spreading Seas, their Saga or Hidetsugu, whatever they get of the Saga. So I would still be in a pretty good decision, but this way it turned out much better. And since they already played the land for the turn, they weren't able to hold the Rebuke anymore. So it was just pretty good for me. Nothing they could have done to turn this game around with considering cards in my hand. It's just impossible for them. They tried to do something. They got the Ingenious Smith, Teferi on the field, Portable Hole, but I had too many answers in my hand. Had to was able to choose multiple ways of winning in this matchup, so they just played their 1-drops. I bounced Hiratsugu to my hand with the fairy, so I will be able to use it again. So pretty good card. In this matchup kills the holes, the sentinel, the constructs, shadow spears, whatever, so they just can't beat this 2 planeswalkers, Hiratsugu, Spreading Seas, Risen Reef. I have everything, so that's it. Okay, so that was the entire league. The deck feels super strong, and I have other iterations of this list, but I think this one is pretty good at the moment. I have another Enigmatic Incarnation deck, which is also, in my opinion, very strong. It's more of a combo deck, so I'm both playing 4 Agent of Treacheries in this version and trying to cheat Agent of Treachery with 4 Enigmatic Incarnations and 4 Leyland Bindings in a deck. So you just play Leyland Binding on whatever threat in the first 3 turns. Then on the turn 4, you play your Enigmatic Incarnation, sack the Binding, and target mostly the thing that was below the binding or some better threat if they have it, and that way you are gaining huge advantage. You're like your opponent has to waste or use 3 cards to level up with the value you got. So pretty good value plan. Also, not just that, the deck's playing the elementals like Solitudes and Furies and 4 Persist, and because we're playing the Fables in that version and Bitter Reunion, which is this enchantment sacrifice fodder for Enigmatic Incarnation, which then help us find some one-off 3 drops and 4 drops uh, in the deck. So it's also pretty good. I have that version, a few videos of that version in my channel. You can scroll down and find it. It's pretty interesting too. I think I made two working versions of Enigmatic Incarnation deck, very playable and modern, very strong and powerful, and both versions have their strengths and weaknesses. Of course, I think this version is has such a great long-term mid-range value plan that it's very hard to beat this deck in the late game, and Enigmatic Incarnation is just very powerful late game card that just gets you incredible advantage over the opponent, and it can happen very early in this deck as soon as turn 4, because just cheating in the Titan of Industry, as you saw in against a lot of decks like maybe Hammer Time, like prowess, like burn, can be pretty effective. You just gain 5 life, get 4/4 token and 7/7 reach trample blocker and attacker. So pretty crazy stuff. Some decks just instantly lose to it, and that's it. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the league. Hope you enjoyed the league. If you want to help the channel, click subscribe button, click like, and that's it for this time. Uh, I will also repeat that other version of Enigmatic Incarnation I was talking about. Try to get 5-0 with this too. I was had multiple 4-1s with that version, was really close to it, and had a feeling that will very easily be able to get to there, but just haven't been able to play that much. Yeah, that's it for now. Okay, so bye, and until the next time. Okay, see you.